Welcome to Mercy's Designs. My name is Mercy and I demonstrate Stampin' Up! Products. Today I'm going to show this really cute card. I have two versions here. One is with the Mango Melody base and the other was with Just Jade. Now I prefer how the Just Jade kind of soothes the colors a little bit because this is pretty bright. So we'll be doing this card. All right, to get started, we're going to be doing a little bit of stamping, and I'm going to bring Basket of Blooms. This is the primary stamps that I use. Now, for the sentiment, I brought in Mini Mates. Okay, so the first thing you'll want to do is go ahead and stamp your basket. And I have soft suede ink here, and this is from the stitched rectangle dies. And this is, I believe, the third one down. So it's not, well, I mean, I layered it then with the second one up with the Magenta Madness, which is really a wild color. Okay, so I stamped the basket, and the next thing I will do is add a little grass. Now you could do the grass first and then use the Just Jade, but either way works. Now the grass, I brought this in from Zany Zebras, but you could also draw it in. So I'm just gonna add it, and I'm of course guesstimating here. If you happen to not reach the basket, you could bring in your blend or Stamp Bright markers and add a little bit more. So, but that turned out really well. I'm happy with that. My basket is slightly tippy, but I don't care. So after this, you did this part, you'll want to stamp your little flowers. So I am going to bring in, show you which stamps I used. But of course, I'm not going to be doing all of them. I've done some ahead of time. So for these bigger ones, you can use the punch, which is the small bloom punch right here. And I'll demonstrate that. But one of the things I wanted to point out is if your ink pad is brand new, which obviously this Magenta Madness is a brand new ink pad since it just came out. Sometimes you can have an over inked image. So I just stamp here, and that one turned out pretty well. But if you find that it is over inked, just take a spoon and push down on your ink pad. And sometimes that will really help if it's oversaturated. So I'm going to set that aside so I don't get my fingers in it. And you can see a bit of a difference. It's a little bit, I'll bring it up closer. It's a little less saturated and you see more of the details. So it is a good idea, especially again, if your ink pad is brand new, to push down on it like that. So here is the little punch. And as you can see, it lines it up really well. You can just easily line it up. All right, so that is that part. Now the other stamping that I do need to do is to create the background for our base. And that is super fun and super easy. So what I'm gonna do is do a tone on tone, which is the most forgiving. And we're going to go ahead and use the stamp that is part of the set. It's this big leafy one. And basically we're just gonna kind of randomly stamp. It doesn't have to be perfect, just kind of to get all the edges, because the center will be covered. So I'm not gonna concern myself with that. I think that I love this technique because it just draws your eye in, and it just is super easy, of course. So just keep stamping, and if you have a little bit on that you want to fill in, you can just add a little here and there, and it's quite forgiving. So Don't be afraid. All right, so that part is done. And then we're going to do a little bit more stamping, which is going to be the sentiment. And then we can start building our layers with the card. All right, so I have this Thanks, You're So Nice. And I mounted 2 stamps, and this is from, as I was saying, the Mini Mates. And what I want is actually 2 colors. So I have Gorgeous Grape here and Magenta Madness. So I'm going to bring in my scrap here. All right, so what you want to do is try to, you could actually mask this, but if you're kind of lazy, you can just ink it with it still, you know, and not ink that one. And then what I do is I just turn my stamp pad and now gently tap that side. And let's see how successful I was. Thanks, You're So Nice. I think I was pretty successful. So it's just one less step if you do it that way than masking, but either way would, you know, get the job done. So I have this brand new punch. It's called Rectangular Postage Stamp Punch. And this is awesome punch for sentiments. So what I want to do is I want to just center it and punch it. Now I have gone ahead and cut it, punched out from just Jade and the purple. And what I want to do here is I'm going to cut this in half. So Gorgeous Grapes, I'm cutting straight in half like this. And this one I'm going to cut down the center. Now, you don't have to be super straight or anything. It's just a matter of getting it so, you know, in half, because you're not going to see that part. So one cool part about this this punch, is you can kind of line it up and let it be your guide. So when you're matting it, I'm one, you know, perforated edge over, so you can see. So it kind of helps you and does the work for you. And just line it up like that. Okay. So then I want to do the same here, and I will quickly add that. Okay. Now this one, I'm just going to kind of center it. So these kind of meet up a little. I don't know if you can see that. It's pretty cool. It does, again, it kind of does the work for you, and it's pretty obvious what would look the best. So, and it's a cool matte because it's two-toned, just like my stamping is two-tone, although I didn't match it exactly. You don't have to match things exactly. Sometimes it's kind of nice to not be too matchy-matchy. So I'm just going to look at this, and I see this side is a little wider, so I want to line that up. All right, so that's the stamping, and now it's going to be a fun part, which is going to be to start building. But first, you can just fill in a little here with your light crumb cake if you so desire, just to make it a little bit more filled in looking. And I'm obviously not doing a real careful job here, but it really doesn't need fine work. And leaving a little white actually often enhances it. So just keep that in mind when you're stamping. Okay, so I'm going to pull in a little bit more, and we will start building. Okay, so the first one I built or added would be this little purple Gorgeous Grape one. And just try to add just a dot so that you're going to be able to tuck things under and so forth. So the next one, well, Where was the one I punched out? Oh, okay. We're going to use the one I just punched. That way it seems more authentic. I did have some others punched, but you know, we want it to look authentic. All right, so I have a Highland Heather. So I don't know if you're noticing, but I actually use 2 tones of each of these colors. And I brought in a bunch. I brought in Mango Melody and Calypso Coral for that pair, if that makes sense. I brought in Gorgeous Grape and Highland Heather. And for my pinks, I have the Magenta Madness and the Melon Mambo, which is an old favorite. All right, so we're going to just keep building, and I will speed up a little bit so that you don't have to watch too much of this in slow motion. Look how gorgeous this is. It's just amazing. If you like hot colors, this is the card for you. Really beautiful. So now we're going to finish assembling. So I'm bringing in the base that we stamped. Back out a little bit. And just quickly add that. I love liquid glue, by the way. And the Tombow is still probably my favorite. I've tried different ones as far as it stays flexible, the card. I've used art glitter glue, but I don't know if any of you've used it. It tends to warp paper, so that's a big downside. All right, so that is our front. Now, I used some DSP from Artistry Blooms, and I just added the strip here. And by the way, my color inspiration was largely based on Artistry Blooms. I really love those colors. Even though I didn't use it in the front, any of the DSP, using a little strip inside the card is really effective and adds just enough pop of color. So plenty of room for our message, and that is my card for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any stamping needs, please email me at mewants3@gmail.com. and I'd be happy to help you place an order with the host code. So one thing I forgot quickly is to add our little bling. Really important step. You can see how it really steps it up. So I have my rhinestones here, and all I'm going to basically do is to each one that is the larger ones, I'm going to add. So popping these on. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I try to make a lot of videos, like once a week at least, which is a lot sometimes. Lately though, I've been pretty busy. We just had our daughter's graduation, and that kept me pretty busy for a few days there. Anyhow, isn't that cool? It just adds that really like blingy, feminine look. Love it. All right. Thank you again for watching, and have a great day and happy stamping.